So now let's turn to Martin Brechbiel, MMR, for his scratch building corner. Martin, welcome.
Hey, Jim, I'm actually here, strangely enough.
Hi, Martin.
Good evening.
Yeah, one of the few.
Yeah, well, some of us can find our way around the maze, get here. So tonight we're going to start something new.
By the way, beautiful, beautiful newsletter you produced.
Oh, well, I have help. Everybody who contributed helped make it what it is, as did the proofreaders. So I merely just put it together with some staples and sealing wax and some glue. So that said, tonight we're going to start the Exacta passenger cars. Now, Exacta passenger cars are ancient history, even in the O-scale community. These were kits, and we're talking late 30s, early 40s. So probably older than most of the people here, with only a few exceptions, maybe. Uh, Nobody probably has fond memories of ever building one of these, I'm betting. So I picked up a pair of these off of eBay a couple of years ago, and they sat in the hallway on the stack of, the shelving on the stack of projects. And I decided a couple of months ago, I'm tired of looking at the dust that's on top of them. So the best way to get rid of that is to clean them off and get to work on them. They did not arrive in good condition. Not that they were in good condition to begin with, but the one came in a spontaneously disassembled form. This is one side and one end. These are embossed. These are actually pressed between dies. These are plastic, early 40s, no metal, plastic. It's embossed on both sides between a die under considerable pressure, apparently, and it's some sort of plastic. I have no idea what kind of plastic it is. They were nailed to the sides and glued with glue at that time, which didn't survive the shipping process. I pulled the nails out. Well, actually, no, I didn't have to pull the nails out of this one because it was already in pieces. That is hand lettered, New York Central and Hudson River. I try very hard not to ruin the exterior of these cars. I don't think I should do anything other than clean these, but putting them back together and tidying things up, fixing things that are wrong, perhaps that are damaged, is where we're going on this. So that's where the scratch pudding is going to be on these cars. Here's the rest of the car. And that's about the shape that it arrived in. There was some glazing of dubious distinction on the inside. A lot of castings, most of them broken free, rattling around in the cardboard box and newspaper. So I'll show you those in a minute or two. This side was actually still attached. There's 4 nails in it. The nail holes are actually useful because that tells me which side goes on which side of the car body. So when I'm putting it back together, I'm looking for those holes to realign it so I get the right side on the right, the right car body side on the right side of the flat base. So that actually was useful. Here's the roof. It's a duckbill roof, which was kind of attractive for me. I mean, I like the time period. I should have mentioned the prototype for this car actually is real. It's a Wagner sleeping car. It's 1870s, 1890s. So these are not 20th century cars. These are 19th century cars. You can see we're missing a stack here, just a ripped out piece. I never did find it. It was not in the box or got lost in the box somewhere along the way. That's easy to fix. And here's the inside. It's a hollow roof, which is kind of nice. I don't know what the yellow material is that's nailed to it. I left it. I figured this is something I'm just going to leave alone. It doesn't look terribly bad. I like the yellow. We'll clean the dirt and the lint and maybe hand paint it and get it cleaned up. But other than that, we're not going to mess with this too much. But somebody spent some time making this roof. I'm pretty sure something of this complexity was not supplied as finished. So I think you had to make that. So 80 years ago, someone was very busy. Here's what came on the inside. These are all white metal, amazingly heavy. There's about 2 pounds of lead there. They're not going back in this car. So they're not, they're just wrong in every way possible, time-wise and weight-wise. They're departing for a new home. But you know, these are early Walthers parts, very early. Here's your underbody, pretty basic, nothing fancy here. Truss rods up through the floor. Actually, they're not through the floor. They're actually looped into nail heads at the ends. Bolsters, steps, and a Lincoln pin coupler on one end with the pin still attached. So as much as this is really attractive and neat, I'm not going to be able to use it, and I don't have the other one. And finding a matching brass cast Lincoln pin coupler unit seems pretty close to impossible. I'll probably find one next week, having said that. However, at the time, I thought it was impossible. So that's going to get replaced. So it's a matter of just cleaning up and tightening up things. They're the trucks. They look a little rough, but once cleaned up, I think they'll be just fine. We're not going to really notice them. They're actually pretty nice given their vintage age. They're heavy bronze. They're not brass. They're not white metal. They're actually bronze. So we're in the Bronze Age. So what did I do? We're going to see part of that tonight. I put a new floor in, first of all. Cleaned all that out, took all the residue off, cleaned it all out, sanded it down a little bit. New scribe siding floor. Since all those windows in a passenger car, you can see inside. So we have to make this a little more presentable from the outside in. And a nice floor is where we start on that. New brake wheels, clean up the platforms. One of the platforms was loose, and that took a surprising number of screws from the underbody to take it apart, take it off, tighten it back up, and remount it. And during remounting it, adding goo and CA and a little bit of other epoxy type glues to get it all situated and tight and snug. So we have a nice brass brake wheel at both ends now, just to make it look a little nicer. And we take the floor, and I stained it with Minwax stain. I like using Minwax stains, not just for the aroma, but for the appearance. This is one of the cherry stains. And I only had a little bit in a can with the hope of using it up on this project so I could dump the rest of it into my mystery Minwax jar. But cherry seemed to be nice. I didn't have any mahogany. Mahogany would have been my preference, but you work with what you have. Okay, new seats. These started off being Walthers, went to Keel Line, went to somebody else, and disappeared from the marketplace as far as I know. You have to put these together. There are, oh gosh, 2, 4, 6 parts to each chair. They're a joy to put together. I mean that in the most facetious way possible. They can be assembled so that the backs will flip. The amount of precision in doing that eludes my fat fingers. So these don't flip. They're done as close as I could and get them decently assembled. Stop there. Okay, so we add some interior paneling to the sides. Well, I know how high off the floor I need to go because I have those nail holes and I can just put it back in place temporarily, pin it with the nails, draw a line and say, okay, that's where my wainscoting and trim go. This is just 1/32 thick scribe siding, a lot of strip wood stacked in places, all glued down using goo and CA onto this plastic material. Again, I have no idea what the plastic is. It's three-dimensional on the inside as well as on the outside. So you can't really lay things flat. You have to work around it. So I just sort of made a fake framing around the windows. Doesn't go all the way up because that roof sits down inside the car body into the side. So I have to leave room for the roof to fit in. This is a lot of fun to do. So there's lots of little bits of wood, little bits of trim here and there and everywhere. And let's stain that also. So that gets cherry stained. And I touched up the yellow using, oddly enough, Signal Yellow, which actually took 3 coats. Despite being a really old bottle of polyscale paint, it still did not cover very well. So you have to go back and paint everything 3 times. It's amazingly tedious. This is where having really, really good music on your stereo and being very decaffeinated helps with the steady the hands and set the patience up. Paint one direction, turn it, paint the other, turn it, and paint the other direction. Work your way around again and again and again every window. And again, there's no point in going up any higher because the roof comes down and meets the top of the windows. And that's where I'm stopping this week. We're going to stretch this out through the rest of the month. There are 2 of these cars that I'm going to do. This one is the later vintage car. The other one is the old copper alloy Exacta car. And we'll get to, I hope to finish this plastic one up next week. And then I guess January, we'll do the other car. So that's where I'm stopping tonight. Any questions? Now's the time to scream them out.
Well, you got 2 more weeks this year.
2 more. Okay. I thought we had a my build.
You do, but I thought maybe you only have 1 more.
I think I only have 1 more. Unless I show
I don't know.
Christmas, unless I show
you're right.
myself
My
on.
build.
Okay. That's good.
Yep, I got you. All right. 1 more.
Okay. So anybody
have any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Martin. Yeah, you said it arrived in the mail. Is this something that you found on eBay?
Yeah, this was an eBay purchase.
Mhm.
I'll not name the source, but it is one you would all recognize, and they are notorious for very poor packing and shipping, and lots of bulk sales.
It still looks like a neat find, though.
No, I've only ever seen 2 or 3 of these cars. Actually, I've seen 2 or 3 in kit form, unbuilt, brand new in the box. And rather than buy them, I just sort of waved politely to them, not wanting to really dive into soldering the copper alloy sides and ends together and building these cars up from the ground. Restoring the 2 is tough enough as it is. I have a 3rd car, but that one is not related to these 2 that was in the box. And it's in worse shape. So I'll be starting it next week in my shop, I think. Anything else?
Anybody else have any questions?
Martin,
Thanks so very much. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Martin, have you built a Walthers passenger car by chance with
Oh,
the
yeah.
metal side?
Yep.
I'm doing one right now, and it's quite a challenge.
There.
I'm detailing the inside, and I've run into, well, like you doing the floor and the sides. I've done all that already, but staining it was a lot of fun with the.
No, those are they can be. You can build those up to be beautiful cars, but they are not trivial to do. I mean, anybody can slap them together, but it's making them look really good. Well,
yeah.
Take your time and don't. Well, it's O-scale. Suffer.
Yeah, it has that illustration board for the sides for the scribe siding. It's quite a challenge to paint that.
Oh, that's yeah.
It fits over the metal, eh?
Oh, what car is this?
This is a passenger car. It's a shorty with the fancy ends on it.
This
It's
one of
all
the,
metal on the ends. It's metal with it's covered over with the illustration board siding.
is this one like the, about a 32, 34 foot car?
Yes,
One of the Sierra cars.
yes.
Yeah, I've built 3 or 4 of those. They are painful because
You're
they're
being
small.
nice.
They're small. Actually, I have thrown away that cardstock, that scribed cardstock, and just
Yeah, well,
replaced it with 1/32 scribed wood.
well, I did the scribe wood on the interior, and I wish I'd done it on the outside.
Yeah, I learned the hard way I went through what you're doing
Yeah,
and learned not to do that again.
I'll fight it one way or another.
Okay,
Thanks, Tom.
sure. Oh, before I forget, All Nation has brought those kits back out, but they're 3D printed now.
Oh, okay. Big difference.
Yeah, I saw them in Strasbourg back in October, so I know he has them.
Martin,
Yes, sir.
before you get all this thing, and you mentioned the All Nation cars. I was considering doing one of those as a build along here, and I was looking at the 3D printing on the thing, and it looks like there was a lot of the little dots in the 3D printing and stuff like this. How is the quality of the printing that you saw in their kits?
They're a little rough.
Yes, what I thought.
They're not the real high end resin printing.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But for the price, well, the Walther, if you could, you're not going to find the Walther's ones.
Right.
Unless you raid my project shelf. That's where that's where some of them are sitting. But yeah, those are I'll ask John next time I see him in April.
Okay.
See if he's going to upgrade the quality of the print.
Yeah, if he would, I would like to do the project on new tracks here that we talked about doing, but he's got to get that a lot better before I could do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, you're right. The magazine was awesome.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Martin. See you next week.
Yep.